Good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Helena Nat. I'm the executive director with the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. I love first of all, I love doing my job. I love connecting the businesses with each other. And we have a database of 30,000 different business and civic leaders for our members to communicate with and reach out to. And one of our members is Sheila Neisler. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Because I want the reason why I say that so people hear it, and then when they refer back to you, they have it correctly. So
it's the opposite of Meanler. It's Neisler.
Got it. So everyone, when you're following up, you have it right here. So Sheila, came onto our networking, our online networking that we host on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock. And the information that she was providing about what she does was phenomenal. And I immediately zoomed in on her because of any type of marketing tips that we as a chamber can provide, whether you're an entrepreneur, a small or medium-sized company, major corporation, is to your advantage. And she has so much information. So I am right now going to turn it over to her. But you know what? Just a little bit of background. She has helped small and medium-sized companies, nonprofit organizations achieve, are you guys listening? Double-digit results in executing a 360 marketing plan. So it's in her philosophy, is my philosophy. I love it. It's not about spending more time, money, and resources. It's making it effective for you. So with that introduction, I'm going to turn it over to Sheila. By the way, we have a chat going on. Put your information in the chat. I will ask Sheila at the maybe during the presentation if I see something important, but we will have a Q&A at the end. It will be a hard stop at 11 o'clock. This is being recorded, and we will be sending out the power deck because there are worksheets that Sheila wants to send you. So as long as you RSVP it online at our website, you will be getting a copy of this. Sheila, I'm so excited for this presentation. Take it away.
Well, good. I will be giving lots of people a lot of information. It's like having a fillet in one bite. That's why we're going to send the deck and the worksheets, because the important thing is not what you hear, it's what you implement. So anyway, thank y'all for joining us. Let's get started. Okay, a little bit about me. I have been in the marketing business for about 20 years. I have a 360 focus. And one of the concepts we're going to be talking about is what's your why? My why is I look at your top line and your bottom line. If Ralph is on the call today, hey Ralph, because I'm a former banker, and what I do is I look at, say, are you spending your money effectively? Because again, it's about winning the game. It's not about what pass you have or do you run the ball. It's winning the game, and a collaborative effort really goes a long way. But that's my differentiation. But how I got to starting my marketing business is I had a gift basket business, and I built it up to between 10 and 14,000 baskets a year. And what happened was I realized that the baskets themselves were actually marketing channels, was a marketing way to engage clients. And then people came to me and said, we love your brains better than your baskets. So hint to everybody, listen to your customer. When your customer says go into marketing, go into marketing. But then I started doing the research. And what I found was this is the landscape that your clients are seeing. And they're calling it's the Times Square effect. Because what happens is, this is what's going on in your client's head. They see 4,000 ads. They see 16,000 brands every day. They get 121 emails every day. They're overwhelmed. And so you're trying to sell in that marketplace, in that landscape. And guess what? It takes 5 to 12 contacts to make a sale. So how do you cut through that noise? And then you'll love this. The 10 to 20% shrinking of the brain, they're not testing you and me. They're testing students at MIT. They're not remembering stuff because they're so distracted with their smartphone and their laptop and their professor. And these people are sending people to Mars. So it's very important. It's a very busy landscape that you guys deal with every single day. And so Microsoft did a study, and they found the average goldfish has like a 7-second attention span? Well, we've got like a 3-second attention span. And again, you interrupt yourselves. You interrupt yourselves every 2 minutes. You guys are going to check your emails, I promise you, or you're going to check social media during this thing. You do it every 2 minutes and you're not concentrating, but y'all are trying to sell. We're all trying to sell in this kind of noisy environment. And I love this. This is from Business Week in the 50s. I don't know who you are. I don't know your company. I don't know your product. I don't know your reputation, but what are you trying to sell me? So getting your brand out is critical in that 5 to 12 contact way to do it. But we're going to explore how to do it without stalking people and saying, hey, I'm just following up. Do you want to buy my stuff? So I love this visual because there's so many different channels that you can use just on social media. But guess what? Every one of those things needs. You need to plug it in. You need to have a connection. If you don't have a connection with your prospect, it doesn't matter how much you post, how much you get likes. You can't take those to the bank. You've got to have conversations. 56% of all ads online are never seen by humans. 50% of internet is done by bots. 28% of all website traffic is generated by bots. So people think, oh, I'm going to go online and, Katie bar the door with my sales. Don't assume that, especially for small business owners. So this is why it's important. The average sale takes between 5 to 12 contacts. Only 10% of us follow up to the 5th contact. Nielsen does a study every couple of years. These are the people that do the TV ratings. And if you look at the number of personal referrals, how many people trust that versus other channels of marketing? Look at the influencers, mobile text. People don't trust that as much. So you sit there and go, wait a minute, let's look at where we're spending our time and where we're spending our money. We spend so much time like defaulting to different channels of marketing when personal referrals is the #1 most trusted resource. So from your perspective, why should you have a marketing perspective? These are different channels of marketing. If you look at the conversion rate, it's very little. It's all less than 3%. So that means you've got to, if you're on certain channels, you've got to talk to more than 100 people to get 3 sales. So I want to explain this. This is almost like when you sit down to dinner. You have a vegetable, you have a protein, you have a starch, you have a liquid, maybe you have a dessert. Your marketing should be like a well-balanced meal, and that can ensure your success. Again, look at I want to make sure that people understand the data behind, marketing is part art and science, and I like to look at the science to make decisions for my clients. Okay, so we're going to have 3 concepts. What's your why? Number 2 is who needs to hear it? So many times we talk about filling our sales funnel, and I always say you're maybe looking for sales in all the wrong places. And then how do you tell them? How do you have a well-orchestrated marketing plan that's not just consistently in one channel? And I love this. I had a client in South Carolina that was Project Hope. And we set up at a parade, we were raising hope with these little signs. And we set up HOPE, the way we read it, left to right. What our clients saw was EPO. So it's not what I say, it's what you hear. And I think it's really important to have a client-centric marketing so that you could be selling features and benefits, but the client doesn't want to hear that. Maybe the client wants to hear how his problem is going to get solved, and you can solve it quicker and cheaper than your competition. So let's put it to practice. I was working with a real estate developer in Tampa, Florida, and if you look at real estate in Tampa and all the brochures, everybody's got pretty pictures of the skyline, and it's all, we sell Tampa Bay, your business needs to be here. So that's all you saw. And what he was a tenant rep. And so he renegotiated leases for people, or he would go in, and if someone was relocating, he would be paid by the developer or paid by the person, the building manager. And I said, so your target market is not leasing buildings, it's discussing lease negotiations. So we pivoted and realized what happened was how much that lease was going to cost. And he was being paid by the developer or the property manager. So going into businesses to say, who's on your side of the table when you're negotiating this 6-figure lease? It allowed him to cut through all what the tenant reps were doing and all the other developers. And he got in to go into businesses to say, hey, I can be your advocate as you're doing your negotiation, and you're not going to pay me. The building manager is going to pay me, or the real estate developer is going to pay me. So people don't care what you do, they care why you do it. And you can't outsource this. You can't hire me, you can't hire another marketing person. You've got to dig down and say, why are you in business? But why are you different? And when you meet people in your elevator speech and when you're networking, are you telling people your differentiation? So the next thing we're going to talk about is how to change your funnels, your sales funnel. Turn it upside down. I always say, are you looking for sales in all the wrong places? And looking for sales in all the wrong faces. So we're going to talk about a real success story. This is Bonnie and Michael Houlihan with Barefoot Wines. They took over in the 70s. They were running a winery that they basically got because Michael couldn't get paid. One winery went belly up, they gave him grapes. Another winery went belly up and they gave him bottle making capacity. And literally they started in their laundry room. They had no experience. They were not chemists. They were wine drinkers. That was their only experience in opening this winery. But they said, why not? So they started in their laundry room. But the best thing is they didn't know anything. You know, and so what happened was they started looking at wineries, and wines. There were 14,000 brands in the 70s. And they looked at how people were selling wine. And people, and especially in San Francisco, you could buy wine at grocery stores. And, you know, they were sophisticated wine drinkers. This is the advent of people were still drinking hard alcohol and light beers. So they always thought that wine was more sophisticated drink. And so what they did was, getting to that, it was very expensive. You had to buy TV ads, you had to buy print ads, you had to do radio ads, you had to do, you know, wine and dine, literally wine and dine, grocery store executives, pay slotting fees. That's why all these wineries were going bust. So what did they do? They went to the grocery store and they said, who's in the grocery store? And it was women who drink wine, who didn't want any surprises, who needed an affordable wine, that didn't want, you know, they didn't want to be educated because they had 2 kids in the shopping cart. They had to get home for dinner and cook and make sure the kids had homework. So instead of creating a wine around their winery, they created the wine around their client. That barefoot foot in their logo is Bonnie's foot in the Pacific Ocean, because they wanted a woman to drink the wine and think, oh, I can relax. And they basically tailored their whole winery around this. And so what did they do? They came up with a distinctive label. They started calling on all of the grocery stores to say, would you sell us our wine? They weren't depending on distributors. They built relationships with women. They were one of the first ones that were serving the wine when you walked in with the 2 kids in the grocery cart. And they did cause marketing, which we'll talk about. Okay, fast forward to the early 2000s, and they were the #1 brand private label in the world. And they were selling 529,000 cases. I got to do some of their marketing when they were visiting Asheville. They sold to Ernest and Julio Gallo. E&J bought them as a defensive mechanism because they didn't want to enter that lower price wine, you know, and compete with it. They said, why don't we just buy it? They became best-selling authors, and they basically started the cause marketing landscape. And what happened was when they went to talk to the grocery store buyers, okay, they, instead of walking in and saying, this is our wonderful wine, here's our wonderful label, here's all the awards, they asked the buyer what he wanted. And he said, I want a red wine, I want a white wine, I want a jug wine, I want it priced like Robert Mondavi, and I want it to taste like Robert Mondavi. You had 14,000 labels, and he only had 5 criteria for him to buy the wine and to carry it. So you fast forward, and guess what? They spent no money on traditional advertising because they didn't have it. But they built the brand from the client out versus from the product out. So now it's your turn. Think about who exactly is your target market. And the best way to start is to figure out who your favorite customer is and the one that you really enjoy working with, and clone them. So the next concept we're going to talk about is 360. Okay, and this is basically an Excel spreadsheet. When I first got hired from Baskets to marketing, I created an Excel spreadsheet to make sure that whatever idea we did was going to be distributed in multiple channels. I didn't want to assume that our salespeople that were calling on the street, made sure that if we were doing a promotion, that it was also on our website, that it was also in our stores, that was also in our newsletters, that was also in our bills, so that we had a consistent message to our customer. Because let's maximize those dollars. So basically, the 360 did not come from Sheila. It came from a woman by the name of Shelley Lazarus, who was with Ogilvy and Mather. And she was a copywriter, just like the woman in Mad Men. And she took over basically their direct mail for Ogilvy and Mather. And what she started looking at is what was on TV, what was on the radio, what was in the mailbox, and and on the billboards were all different ways to sell stuff. It wasn't consistent, and it didn't create a story. It didn't build on each other. So literally, she went to she got promoted to be president with that insight, and she went and called on Ford. And she walked into Ford, and think about this, this is probably in the early 70s, and everybody in the room has got a pocket protector. They're all engineers. They've all got their little calculators, and they're looking at a woman and they're going, "Thank you, lady. We greatly appreciate this." But her background was selling Clairol and Playtex. And he goes, "You've been selling hair dye and bras. What do you know about our car?" And she said, "You know what? I'm new to the sector, but I've done my research. And I've realized that you're spending all this money on marketing, and it only matters when we walk into your showroom. And your showroom experience is the same thing as Chevrolet, as Chrysler, as Nissan. So how are you different? And how are you communicating that with your client?" And they could not answer her except with yes. She got the business. And that's how she started 360 marketing. She went on to do Walt Disney. Think about all the stuff with Walt Disney World. It's a holistic marketing campaign. When you look at when Apple launches, they paint the sides of buildings. You never see Apple actually advertised on the internet. They're doing counter marketing and being very successful at it. So let's go into the different ways that I have helped clients do this. And I'll give you worksheets so that you can do your own. Number one, again, word of mouth is the most trusted form of marketing. If you spend money on marketing, if you're out in the community, it increases that dollar by 54%. And if you're targeting millennials, it's the number one influencer on larger purchases. They're asking their friends, "What should I be buying?" Number two, paid ads. Very, very expensive. For most of my clients, we did not have the money to spend on paid advertising. This is a great one with Newcastle Ale. This was considered the worst ad by the Wall Street Journal, because what happened was they did a Super Bowl ad, and it was supposed to be funny, and it was on YouTube, and it was Anna Kendrick, and she was cussing like a sailor. You couldn't say the word Super Bowl, so she cusses all the time anyway. But she was talking about they spent all their money making the ad and had no money to distribute it. And so what happened was it aired. Great, 5 million YouTube videos, 600 media stories. Their sales dropped 3.1%. That's why the Wall Street Journal said this was the worst ad of the year. But what happened was, because people that were entertained on their laptops and smartphones, once they went to the grocery store, they didn't see it. However, in certain target markets, they actually had a life-size picture of Anna Kendrick, and those sales went up 300%, proving once again, you've got to have a full platter of options for people when you're marketing, because just on social media did not drive their sales. Cause marketing, I'm very passionate about this. This started in the 70s when Lee Iacocca went to American Express and said, hey, I need $3 million to rebuild the Statue of Liberty. And American Express said no. What they did say is, we will give you $1 for every new application. We'll also give you a percentage of sales every time people use their American Express card. What happened? They had a 17% increase in cardholders and a 28% in the number of transactions. Instead of people pulling out their Discover card, their Visa card, their MasterCard, they felt a connection to rebuilding an American icon. And that's what cause marketing is. It's selling to people's heart instead of through their head. And a woman by the name of Carol Cohn basically has been monitoring this since the 70s, and you can get a 19% increase if you align with a cause that your customers relate to. It's another call to action. And the two statistics that are important here, a 19% increase in sales if you run a good cost marketing campaign. But the last one is 74% of Americans want more promotion. They want to know what's behind your brand. You know, what behind your product, what is your personality? Who do you care about? How are you helping the community? They're looking for that information because it's a critical differentiator. And again, if you look at this, was John Krasinski with Some Good News. People were watching these videos during COVID more than they were watching. And it's really easy to do some cause marketing things. I'll be doing some workshops in the future about how to do it right, but you don't need to be a big business. I've got small businesses that are donating 1 day a quarter to do facials. I've got one woman, Georgette, she gave 52 to a local hospital, 52 facials in less than 3 weeks. She had more than covered her investment of the 52 weeks because people said, she's supporting us during COVID. We want to return the favor by changing our buying habits. And again, it was 1 facial a week. She was doing 30. So it wasn't like killing her budget. So market makers, this is very critical. This should be the #1 thing that every small business focuses on. These are cooperative, non-competing firms which serve the same customer base. It's the collaboration. When you think about real estate, you've got a stager, you've got a mortgage person, you've got a title company, you've got an insurance company, you know, you've got a realtor, you've got all these people, remodeler, all these people can come together to put on an event. This was one we did in Manufacturing Day, and we served the USO. We had this big event, and 110 military people were getting out, got jobs in the manufacturing sector. And the call to action was National Manufacturers Day. We all came together, we put this on, the whole event cost us less than $500. And that was for the ice cream because we had an ice cream social. Here's another one. I had a hearing aid company. Because we partnered with all these different groups, they were all promoting, who comes to a hearing aid grand opening? Everybody was partnering. We had assisted living people busing their people in for the entertainment. And because we wanted to position ourselves as the good guys that wanted to educate the whole body, not just sell hearing aids. We wanted to talk about, mental health. We wanted to talk about brain health. We wanted to talk about skincare. We wanted to talk about exercise. Again, we wanted to look at the aging person, not just a hearing problem. So we put this out, and then we had the #1 referrals that we got were from home health care people. They couldn't come during the day, so we had their own happy hour. And the result, a 45% increase over other hearing aid companies. And a lot of it, again, we were positioning ourselves not as just hearing aid, and our tagline, it was not about getting older, it was about staying younger. Okay, this I love. Your net worth is your network. There's a wonderful, and there's a link on here, Alberto Laszlo Baraducci. I think I'm going to mess up his name, but he did a thing on the importance of networking. And he actually found out that when you look at art, how art is sold is through networking. It's not about what the art looks like. They actually traced he did some analysis of art in New York City. And the artists that sold $1 million pictures, it had nothing to do with the art. It had everything to do with the artwork. I mean, excuse me, the network of getting into the right galleries. So always look at chambers, look at ways you can get involved. Because what happens is your performance is about you, but your success is about us. And remember when you were in kindergarten, can you play well with others? You know, with football season, you might have the best quarterback in the world, but if he can't play with others, he's not going to be a success. So next one is public speaking. I encourage it, go to Toastmasters, go to practice your elevator speech just to get good. The main thing that you do not do is sell yourself, sell your product, sell your knowledge, help people succeed in their own way. And that will position you differently as just, hey, I'm here to talk about my product. Earned media. Okay, challenges. A lot of newspapers have shut down. They're only publishing a couple times a day. That's the bad news. The good news is there's so many hyper local places that you could be sending out media releases. The challenge is just because it's news to you doesn't mean it's news to anyone else. The average reporter gets 175 media releases a day and they've got one story. Now, if you do it right, you can get a 40% premium because you're now in the editorial side of the paper or the column, not the advertising side. But again, there's lots of ways that you can do that. You can have a grand opening, you could have a charity event, you could be hosting a workshop, you know, with your partners. There's lots of ways to get news out versus buy my stuff. Okay, you'll love this. I was on a bunch of magazines, you know, and whatever. This was great. It was great for my ego. Guess what, guys? It didn't hit my bottom line and it didn't hit my top line. Most of these, you'll love this. The one with the Christmas hat on, you'll love it. They did the story in November. It ran December 28th. I changed my entire marketing thing thinking it was going to hit then. It didn't. And of course, you know, it hit my bottom line. So I didn't assume, again, that single channel. Well, I did assume that channel was going to work, was going to be a silver bullet. It's not, and it wasn't. The same thing with the Pursuit of Happiness in Charleston magazine. Again, that was a December issue. I cut out my direct mail and my sales suffered for it because not everybody was reading the magazine. Again, printed info, I'm a big believer in that. If when you're dealing with manufacturers, they don't have cell phones in the plants. So figure out where your customer gets his information and get it to him in the way that they want it. Client events, again, for Manufacturing Day, we had an ice cream social. And there's lots of things that you can do that are inexpensive. You could have a coffee at a Panera or a local coffee shop and just thank all your customers and introduce them to each other. That's a low-cost way to build relationships and you know, retain your clients. Outside special events. We've got an expo coming up on September 22nd in 2 weeks. It's very expensive and you'll love this. The number one reason people go to trade shows is for premiums. It's for ad specialties. I had a chamber member say it adult trick-or-treating because they go from one booth to the next to pick up koozies and pens and pencils. But the sad thing is that people go after low-hanging fruit. And the reason it's so expensive is people don't follow up. Point of sale, point of purchase. If you've got a physical location, make sure you've got your promotions when you at a point of sale, at a point of purchase, when you walk into the store. If you've got a charity event you're supporting, making sure the charity has also got information about you and you've got information about that charity. That's what ideal cause marketing is. It's a partnership because charities need money and they need volunteers and they need real estate exposure. And you can align with that by looking like you wear the white hat. You're the good guy. This is what we did with a company in downtown Clearwater. We were able, in over like I want to say a year's contract that I had with them, we increased our sales. We hired 63 new people, 63 new full-time jobs. But what we did was we went in, we had a sip and stroll. So we had a contest that we did on the internet. We had posters. Then we went out to all the hotels and gave them free gift certificates to come to the events. So we basically took one idea and made sure that we were in multiple channels. We had a newsletter. We went and spoke before city council. You know, again, we went to neighborhood communities. We would every month we would have a special neighborhood association. We would invite them as our special guest. So we wanted to create the momentum, and we did not have the money to buy any kind of ads. So basically, point of sale, point of purchase helped drive that relationship. Direct mail, done right, it's very effective. It is very, very effective. You've got to do it right. The response rate is great. It's actually, if you look at that compared to social media and paid search, it's very effective. The challenge is doing it the right way. I took over the city of Clearwater's contract and realized there was so much diversity in downtown Clearwater that we didn't sell it right. We were selling cheap food, BOGO Mondays, you know, Taco Tuesdays. I went, no, it's like, you know, you get a box for Valentine's Day. There's a bunch of different flavors in the box. And that's what we wanted to, our vision was, and our message was, come to downtown Clearwater. You've got a lot to choose from that's diverse. Digital. Again, I don't want to throw any channel under the bus, but if you're on social media an hour and a half a day, you are 2 times more depressed than the average American. And 95% of the people never return to a Facebook page they like, and postings have gotten down because you've got a lot of noise, and people are trying to wean themselves off social media. So if you're spending a lot of time and you're spending all your time and effort on Facebook, and you're missing your customer down the street, or you're missing a networking event, you're shortchanging your marketing budget. And again, the data is all over the place. One of the things, a client came to me and said, oh, you know, the SEO company and AI is going to be changing the impact of SEO. And I'm sure your SEO companies are well aware of that. You know, but a client came to me and said, oh, my SEO guy said that Google changed its algorithms. And so we fell off the page. And I said, wait a minute, Google's changing its algorithms 600 times a year. That's more than once a day. And I said, please do not spend all your time and all your money. If you've got a sales force, what's your sales force doing out in the community? How are they engaging their customers? What other marketing channel are you using? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And then again, LinkedIn. If you look at who's on LinkedIn, I see so many people come to me. This morning, I've gotten 20 people selling me off of LinkedIn. Okay, I've got an office, you know, a co-working thing. I've had one guy try to sell me office cleaning today. I had a guy try to sell me an HVAC today. I had a guy try to sell me copiers today. Did not do his research. He's just sending it out. I am just, you know, a number that he's doing a mail merge on. Again, that tells me he's wasting his time and money. But again, look at who is your target market, where do they hang out? And I have a saying, go to where your customers are and your competitors aren't. Because a lot of times you go to places and there's no competition. You just have to look for it. I'm working with a photographer, and there are like 4,000 realtors in Pinellas County, Florida, and there are only 3 photographers that are in that group. And so he doesn't have any competition going in, and he's becoming a partner with everyone, you know, all of his referrals. And the other thing is positioning him differently is that a picture's worth 1,000 words. With McDonald's real estate photography, it's also worth about $15,000 extra in your sale, because you can either sell it quickly or you can sell it more because it looks better. So why are you in business? And does your prospect care? Is what you're selling what they want to hear? Who are they? Are you looking for sales in all the wrong places? Just like my HVAC guy in my office cleaning place. And how do you talk to them? How do you engage them without just, direct mail all the time, or a newsletter, or just Facebook? It is, like a complete dinner, making sure that you have a little bit of things that makes a healthy body, but it also makes a healthy business. So I'm going to put it to work. I have a client that, this is the one I mentioned at one of the networking things. He signed a 6-month contract with me, and in the first 40 days, I earned all the money that he was going to pay me in the whole 6-month contract. But what happened was, Way to Go Rides brings transportation from people from the hotels to restaurants, and from the airports to the hotels. So basically, he perceived himself as a transportation company for Clearwater Beach, had wrapped vehicles for advertisers. We positioned that, and I made his people full-time concierges, because they are in the car for 45 minutes. And when people land and want to go to the beach, and they're staying at a hotel, they want to know where the locals go. Where's the best seafood? Where's the best nightlife? What is the thing for kids to do? So we realized we were actually a concierge company, and our differentiation between us and Uber or Lyft was we were full-time. We were full-time people, and we basically started promoting the people that invested in us as our partners. Okay, who needed to hear us? So we were like, originally they were like hanging out at the airport trying to get people to use our service. Well, they doubled down on Facebook and digital. They positioned themselves as the go-to for Clearwater Beach on things to do on social media. We also called on the concierge and front desk professionals. We also looked at businesses that did over $250,000 in revenue, because they had a marketing budget that could invest with us to help offset the cost of the transportation. We got involved with the Bay Area Concierge Association, and we got involved with the visitors bureaus, and then the chambers of commerce. Because what we would do is we would go to a local chamber of commerce and not promote our rides, but promote the people that advertise with us. So we've got why we're in business and why we're different. We've got who needs to hear it. Now let's talk about how we communicated that. So you'll be getting this worksheet. So our feet on the street, we made direct sales calls. We also created activity reports that we would hand out to our partners and our prospects to show how many hits we had on social media, how many drives we had, what events we went to promote our partners. Number 2, we did a big thing for National Tourism Week. We were one of 2 businesses in Clearwater Beach that actually saluted National Tourism Week. We took pictures, we tagged the National Tourism people. They were reposting our stuff. And then we were helping with the Bay Area Concierge Charities. Again, helping the people that were giving us business. Market makers, we joined a local civics association because we wanted to kind of develop that local relationship. It wasn't just beach people. We wanted local residents to know that we were a resource for them. Again, Garrett, very involved with local chambers. Printed info. We just bought a magazine, and that was another thing. So when you got in a car, you got the magazine of all of our advertisers, plus coupons or BOGOs for our partners. And then again, we would have quarterly networking events. We weren't selling anything. We were bringing everybody together so that they could meet and do business together. We became basically the concentrated networking for Clearwater Beach, and inviting everybody, sharing with the activity reports. And then we did local trade shows. We were promoting our partners in transportation. And then again, the point of sale, the collateral, there was a video monitor in the cars. We're getting a lot more into video because now our partners are asking us to do video and posting for them in addition to what we're doing. So we're shining the spotlight on them, and then they're shining the spotlight on us. And then again, we're in Facebook with tourism groups. You'll love this. Now, you don't need to be in every channel. We don't spend any money on Google AdWords. We don't spend any money on direct mail, and we don't spend any money on advertising. We invest in the people side of the marketing. So now, knowing is not enough. You must want to do it. So now the marketing ball's in your court. I've got 3 opportunities for you. Number 1, you're going to get the worksheets. You're going to get this video. You're going to get the slideshow. Number 2, for anybody that had signed up to come to this, I'm going to do a 1 hour, and this is no charge to you, a 1 hour follow-up and review. Okay, on 9/21 and 9/22 during the expo, I'll be there at the beginning of the expo and at the half hour at 3 o'clock. In the middle, I'm happy to meet with you one-on-one to go over your worksheets, to brainstorm about marketing. If you can't make it in person, we can meet online. Happy to meet you where your needs are. And then the next thing is, in October and November, one of the things I love is crowd marketing. It's everyone coming together. They interviewed the number 3 person at Hewlett Packard, Fast Company, interviewed and said, how do you spend your day? It was 80-20. 80% of her day was in front of customers. Here she has got 300,000 people reporting to her, but her focus was, she goes, if I talk to a customer, I'm going to know what works, what doesn't, who works and who doesn't, and how we can improve. Having that neutral feedback allowed Hewlett Packard back in the day to become a more effective office product provider. And so I have done this in Charlotte and I've done it in Tampa. And what happens is bringing everyone together in small groups where everyone discusses their marketing plan can help you get some honest feedback and some great ideas and even greater referrals, because now everybody understands your business. One of the things, another statistic, and Ralph can bear this out, is the fact that Regions Bank did a study and they found out that if you have a written business plan, you are 60 to 80% more likely to not only get a loan, but succeed in business for more than 5 years. So putting it out of your head, taking it out of your head and putting it in on paper and bouncing some of your ideas off of everyone is probably the best way to kind of gel what the balance of the year is going to look like in 2024. And so anyway, thank you. I knew this was very fast, and but I'm happy to answer any questions. And anyway, thank you for your time, and hope this helps.
Sheila, that is, I mean, so amazing. I took, believe it or not, I wrote notes down for me. First of all, you know what? I'm gonna, just everyone put some questions in the chat, because that's what Sheila is here for.
This is normally a 90 to 120 minute presentation, and I've got lots more examples, but I also want to respect everyone's time. An hour, hard stop.
Well, also, and then, what, also put up the slide. Someone was requesting if you can go back, put up the slide of the expo, your times and where they can, talk to you or get in contact with you, because you'll be in town during the expo.
Okay, so I'll be in town. I'll be open for things between on Thursday the 21st and Friday the 22nd at the Hilton. Any other time? Okay, in the top of the chat, I put my contact information, and sorry about that. I have a do not disturb on. Okay, who knows? But I had that conversation in the chat. Yes, Wayne, you will get the slides. Absolutely, absolutely. But you can just reach out to me and we can come up with a time. Whatever. But I'll send you. I'll get you. You will get the slides.
Everyone's going to get a copy of the presentation, the slides, as long as you RSVP'd through the website. So we have your information. If not, just email me, and then we will get it to you. You know what? I just want to, just go over a couple of things. Playing well with others, very, very important. Selling to your heart is just an amazing quote. But what I really love is your network is your net worth. I don't, I pick up on this because I love I just talk about marketing and growing your business. But when Sheila sat there and said, your network is your net worth, that's the reason why you came on here. You're looking for information on marketing. That is great. And I also liked how you you talked about like the manufacturers, like if someone's in a plant, they're not going to have their cell phone, you know. So you're targeting the wrong, you're going in at the wrong angle. I loved how you talked about in LinkedIn, that brought me, put a bright light under that. You got all those LinkedIn emails this morning, and maybe half of them don't apply to you.
Mhm.
Because and it's so true. So and I've had that with social media. It's interesting that you're talking about social media, and that we need, more networking and less social media. Don't get me wrong, social media is important. I think Sheila was saying that, but it's also, I think people are kind of pivoting because we've had so much concentration in that in the last 2 and 3 years because of COVID. And now people really want to. So I'm just talking and trying to get people to ask some questions. But I love, go to where your customer is at. But that is, it's so true, so true. So these are just really helpful tips that Sheila went over. Everyone is, like I said, everyone is going to get a copy of the chat, and this is being recorded. Someone said, love the points on diverse marketing and charity points. 100% agree with your perspective on the future of the DEI space. Someone also mentioned, in the world of digital marketing, programmatic, not social, what is your advice to small business owners who want to try programmatic AI campaigns and the return on ad spend with data and targeting goals for them to look for over just impressions and clicks? Did you see that one?
Yeah, okay, so a couple of things.
Yeah.
AI is not my thing. And you'll love this. One of the things that happens is if you go to an AI thing, they're going to throw words at you. And it's really funny, as a marketer, less is more. And so what happens is, the other thing that I saw when I had my gift basket business, it took, somebody say, I want a quote for 150 baskets in March of 2026. What they wanted was a number. They didn't want to know what was in the basket. And I realized I was doing all those presentations. Too much information eliminates the need for a conversation. And you can't sell without a conversation. And so that's one of the things I look at. The other thing that I might suggest to people is look at your SBDC, your SBA, and your SCORE. Right now, there's a ton of workshops on AI. I mean, there were 3 this week that I got notice about, because it's brand new. But I also want to say, it's not going to replace a relationship. I actually tweeted.
Oh, we also have it on Chamber TV. We did an AI workshop over a year and a half ago. So take a look on Chamber TV. But go ahead, Sheila. Sorry.
No, I said, I wish somebody would do AUI, authentic intelligence versus artificial intelligence, because you'll love this. AU is the chemical symbol for gold. So come on, guys, let's use some authentic intelligence instead of some artificial intelligence and have a conversation.
Love, you know what? That is so true, and so true. I mean, we can, AI can be helpful, but AU is more, is the real thing. And that's going to, definitely drive your business up.
You're not going to get a tagline from AI, because you're going to get 500 words and you got 3 words for tagline.
Right. What the question I have for you is, and we've discussed this before, and we talk about it. Going back to like marketing 101, you gave some really good points, but also when you're sending an email, I think you and I talked about that. Everyone that's on here, make sure you have your signature on there. You know what? The most important thing is when you're sending an email or you're making a phone call, make sure you provide the information so they can call you back or they email. I receive a lot of emails that they don't have their signature.
Mhm.
So I like to pick up the phone. And you know what? I'm not going to type, a whole response back. I want to pick up the phone. If I have to scroll down, or if their information is not there, you lost it. And I
Mhm.
think that's also Sheila and I talked about that. That's my pet peeve, but just providing and making sure that you have everything. Do you agree with that, Sheila?
Absolutely. I mean, and it's not that hard to put your logo or your tagline. I have a motivational quote that I put in. So every time I want to reinforce that I'm the marketing person that focuses on education first so that they can make better decisions. I usually say marketing is an investment in yourself. I just happen to be a channel of it. And so if you want sales today, great. If you want sales tomorrow, you need to do marketing. And I think and my challenge is to people to say, don't default to me to do your marketing plan. You come up with some ideas, understand who your customer is, why are you different, so that we can put that in the channels and tell your story that way.
So what name? Just you know what? How do you charge? I think Sean, you should reach out to Sean. He would like
Okay.
to. I don't know if you want to do that. How you charge for your services before, after, during. You could do a one-on-one with Sean. Sean, definitely reach out to her. Or Sheila, you can answer that question. I don't know if it's putting you on the
Well, a
spot.
lot of times I sit down and say, okay, let's look at your sales. How much do you do in sales? And normally, if you are a small business owner, you should be spending 10 to 12 up to 15% of your revenue. And then we look at your, how much is your rent? How much is your employees? So that it's part of your market, it's part of your business plan. A lot of times what happens is people come to me and say, I say, how much is in your budget? They go, I don't have a budget. And I said, well, then you mentally have not made a decision to invest in marketing. Because as a former banker, I used to look at exceptional items. And if you don't have any money in your marketing and you spend $1,000, well, that's an exceptional item. And I go, so that's coming out of your wallet. You need to make the mental decision to have a marketing budget and then make the decision. But that's the hardest decision you got to make, is to say, okay, I'm investing in myself for next year.
So true. And you know what? A lot of people think they don't have a marketing budget, but think of all the food, or when you go out for lunch, you meet someone, it could be a friend or whatever, turn that into, handing out your business card, to going up to the restaurateur, the manager, introducing yourself, because you're there to, network, and you just never know who you're going to run into or who you're going to speak to. I'm going to, we have 5 minutes, but you talked about the chamber and organizations. We partner with the SBA, Small Business Administration. There is SCORE, Service Corps of Retired Executives. That's the meaning behind it. You can set up one-on-one meetings with them. You can call the Greater New York Chamber. We're here to assist you on how to grow your business. But, Sheila talked about collaboration. You know what? One thing is, when we've had a webinar on how to get government contracts. All our webinars are on Chamber TV. How to get government contracts. The government wants you to partner up with people in your lane. So when Sheila sits there and says, collaborate with people, you can also collaborate with people that are similar in your services, because there's a lot of people that might get a customer that they kind of don't jive with. But not only that, they might not be able to service them because they deal in a certain niche area, and they want you. If someone comes to me and I can't provide that service, I want the referral. I'm not going to refer them to my enemy. I'll refer them to my best friend, because they're going to get the positive feedback, and that's a reflection on you. So Sheila, talked about that. I'm going to let you close this up, Sheila. Can you repeat the marketing points for the sip and stroll?
Okay, I can quickly do that, but basically, and if you look at the grid, okay, because we didn't have any money. I mean, it was so funny because the city of Clearwater came to me and said, what does your marketing dashboard look like? And I went, we don't even have a website. Because somebody had the account before me and spent all the money in the wrong place. We had no social media presence. I had to create that. But so what I did was I had to get our name out without spending any money. So I had tons of volunteers. We hit the streets. We invited neighborhood associations. We invited visitors from the local hotels. We went to each one of the restaurants. We highlighted them. We had contests. We did video. So we basically looked for different ways to get our name out on that grid that you're going to get without spending any money. Again, you don't need to be in every sector, but you've got to make sure that you've got this one message. You've got to do it in as many channels as you can. And a lot of it's just creativity and good ideas.
To answer Erin Corbin, does she work with folks in the nonprofit space? I could say yes, she does. Someone, you know what, Shariva, you know, we offer, you know, engineering about the extreme heat management. Reach out to Sheila on that. You know, you can do a one-on-one with her. That's more elaborate. I think, you know what, we're going to respect everyone's time. Hard stop at 11. Just so you know, Sheila was talking about September 22nd. September 22nd, we are hosting our annual Business Expo. We've been doing it on behalf of the Greater New York Chamber for over 20 years. I keep on saying this at our online networkings on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. We still do those. Come to the Business Expo. It's free. We don't charge people to walk around. Go from booth to booth, introduce yourself, and that's a great way to, you know what, to open and market yourself. Again, Sheila is going to be there. I know a lot of people on here. Scott Lang is going to be there. I see the Russian Tea Room is on here. Thank you for joining us. They're an active member with the Chamber of Commerce. Say that again.
I love the Russian Tea Room. Love the Russian Tea Room.
There we go. Cultivate Tea, Taste Tea, Janger Bookkeeping Services. I'm just going through, and Andrew Kulak. There's a lot of people on here, Kevin Jones. So you know what, there's going to be a lot of people, representatives from from all the local, city, state, federal agencies are going to be there. We have some great presentations that are complimentary on how to grow your business. It's all about marketing. It's all about communication that Sheila talked about. Join us on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock. It's online networking. No matter where you are, there's no excuse. You don't have to travel. Just, you know what, just go online, rsvp@chamber.nyc. And if you guys have any questions, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to myself. Sheila, thank you again so much for joining us. So informative. I love, you know this, I love talking marketing. Love talking small business. And thank you so much for your time. Everyone is, you know what, I'm looking at my emails. Everyone's sitting there saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, it will be on Chamber TV. Sheila's going to give me a brief bio on this. So it will be on the Chamber News, as well as if you have any questions, again, reach out to Sheila. Sheila, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone, well,
have a great day.
We'll see you next Tuesday online.
Absolutely.
Take care, everyone. Stay cool, everyone.
Yeah. Bye.